Welcome to another edition of Word Break, and we're in a powerful series on the God Kind of Faith checklist. And so today our checkpoint will be checkpoint number 9. Do I have any corresponding actions? Do I have any, or do you have any corresponding actions? You see, James chapter 2, verse 24, we're going to look at it in more than one translation. The CJB says it this way. You see that a person is declared righteous because of actions and not because of faith alone. The NLT says it this way. You see, we are shown to be right with God by what we do, not by faith alone. You can see, faith, if you're in faith, you're always going to be doing something that you can do so that God will do what you can't do. The James Moffat translation says it this way. You observe it is by what he does that a man is justified, not simply by what he believes. Faith will always have corresponding action. So ask yourself this question today. What can I do to show I am believing for my target? Oh, there's been so many instances in life of doing corresponding actions, but one of the biggest ones was when Cindy and I, we had taken a church in Hallettsville, Texas, and they were renting an old dilapidated building. It used to be a beer joint, and I mean it was falling apart. And the first pastor had committed adultery with the church secretary. Then the second pastor had embezzled, I understand, $10,000. And so the first two pastors have fallen, and so God sent us there. It was a difficult assignment to bring integrity back to the office of pastor of that church. I mean, there was even a padlock on the door to the pastor's office. I mean, a padlock you have to open with a key. And so we took that, and there we are. I'm staring down on Sunday as I'm preaching, looking at about 40% Jezebels, just waiting for me, Cindy and I, to make a mistake so they could. It was terrible. It wasn't a slab building. Well, let me say this. One outside door, you could take that door and move it like this, and the whole wall would move. And then we were having church one time, and some skunks got underneath the church. And every time the bass drum, the drummer would kick that bass drum, those skunks sprayed. We had horrible. So I'm looking at 40% Jezebels. I've got skunk spray all in the congregation, and Cindy and I were on the brink of total discouragement. So we met with the elders and told them that if we didn't see something happening within the next year, we were going to go somewhere else, because Cindy and I were carrying the world on the inside of us. Not just in a small town with a building the church didn't even own that's fallen apart. And so at the point of desperation, I called our church to enter into a season of united prayer. We had to decide did God just want Cindy and I to be there to restore integrity to the office, or was there more, where we're going to be able to launch, where is God going to be able to launch us into the world from Hallettsville, Texas. And so after much prayer, God gave me something I could do. There was something I could do. And so I had my frame, we had my framing square, and I am not an artistic person, but the Lord instructed me, go to the dining room table, get that framing square with a piece of paper, and begin to draw. And so I drew. It was the most primitive drawing, but the moment I took action, I did something, God began to move. Because we couldn't buy any land around the area, because a prominent denomination did not want a spirit-filled church where the power of God was in Hallettsville, Texas. So anytime we tried to buy any land, they bought it out from beneath us. And so because of the intercession, there was a property that came available right on the main highway on US 77 South. And we were able to get that because we also had a thermometer for a building fund. So see, there was two actions going on. I constructed a primitive drawing, and that thermometer was going up with cash into the building fund. And so we had enough cash to purchase the property. And then God gave us unusual favor, and we were able to build an over 12,000 square foot facility, 3.5 acres that we purchased right on the main highway. And that church is still there today. We turned it over to another ministry, Jim and Tamara Graff, and it's part of their satellite churches, Faith Family Church in Hallettsville, Texas. And so the question is, what corresponding action can you do? Ask God, what corresponding action can I do? The man with the withered hand, he couldn't stretch his hand out, but Jesus said, stretch forth your hand. And so everything within him tried to stretch it out. And the moment he did that, the power of God met him, and he was completely healed. Amen. So you must have corresponding action. That concludes this word break. Till next time, remember that this is the victory that overcomes the world, even your faith.